Check, microphone check. Hey, Jim.
Yes, Alex.
Who's our guest on this week's episode of the podcast?
The Scrambled YEGs podcast? Well, that'd be Marcus Reichenbach.
No.
Zachary Red.
Zachary Red Band.
What does that mean? Wait and find out.
Now, this dude is so fucking talented, bro.
Maybe the most talented person in the city.
Yeah. He's unbelievable. Listen to the podcast. You'll find out all the shit he does.
Step to him. See what happens.
Step up. I dare you.
What did we talk to him about, though, Alex?
We talked to him about weed withdrawals.
Don't really get it myself. We talked about H2O Lounge, scary place, but also a singy place.
And we talked about the drivers in the country of Costa Rica.
Not to be confused with them talking about drivers here from Costa Rica.
Yeah.
They were talking about them in another country.
Yeah. It's very different.
Very, very different.
The rules of the road are not the same. How are the Calgary Flames doing?
Like the Oilers used to, suckers.
Deal with that, idiots.
Yeah, you guys suck.
Have fun paying Luch $6 million a year.
Nice stadium.
All right, let's get into this
like
podcast.
a saddle.
Podcast time, let's go. This is another weird thing that I was thinking about.
The director unsuccessfully argued in court that the excrement was actually chocolate ice cream.
Oh yeah, you know way too much about me.
If they had cat videos, they'd probably have more horns.
Somebody listening right now is offended and turned off Scrambled Egg.
That's the hill I will die on.
I respect it.
Listen,
That escalated quickly, though.
By the way, it's called Scrambled YEGs.
And but the thing, that's when it's gonna be brutal. Is the first week. That's
Yeah.
like, I think part of the problem was when I was in Toronto, I was smoking so much fucking weed.
Oh, yeah.
I smoked like an ounce in 3 weeks.
That's a decent amount.
That's a solid
That'll
amount.
do it. Yeah.
And so I think I went through like some legit withdrawals. Last night was the first time that I could like fall asleep without like a problem.
Somebody was telling me recently that a friend of theirs was quitting weed and had gone and was going through like serious withdrawal symptoms, and I was like, I've never heard that. But
Dude,
like cold sweats, like all this stuff.
Yeah,
I was
man.
like, really?
Same.
I've heard it from other people too.
That's crazy. It was the first time I'd heard of it.
Yeah,
Like,
my
wow.
dad quit smoking weed when I was 14, and he went through the shit too.
Really?
Yeah, he found. I
And I
don't.
was 14. That was weed a long time ago.
yeah.
That was the tame stuff, I'm sure. Before
Yeah.
it started getting all
Yeah.
spliced and crazy.
Probably had normal names.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good. Like weed.
Probably no
Probably wasn't
crossbreeding.
called green crack.
God's green crack.
It's like, okay, well that's aggressive, but I'll try it.
It's funny that
Or a
some
false
of them.
raging boner or something.
It's weird that some of them just have normal names. Like there's one just called like Bayou, which is like that seems like a normal strain, and then there's some that's like lick my dick and
Yeah,
suck
you're like,
cock. You're like, what?
Well, that's aggressive, but I think that probably means it's good.
Yeah,
I don't know.
more aggressive the name, the better the weed.
Sometimes, though, like weed is just like too. Like sometimes you get like some kind of like your friends goes, yeah, man, I got some good weed. It's like, oh, sweet. Like what kind? Is it? I don't know.
Yeah, the guy gave it to me. It's good.
Yeah, and it's like, what does that even mean? Like, oh, you have like a little, and then you're fucked for the next like. What does it mean? Like you want to sleep for 3 days? Like.
Yeah, it's funny when people say
like when I did like the medicinal marijuana, when I got into that, I was very surprised that they had names like Alien Dog and stuff like that.
DAWG.
I remember being like, but so those ones they called me at work because I ordered and I was at my at my desk. And I got a phone call and they're like, hey, like we're all out of this one that you ordered. I was like, okay. And like, we can replace it with one of these other ones. And they said 3 names. And I was like, sitting at my desk, I'm like, the third one, please.
Sounds the most normal.
Oh,
to me
just
of all of them.
take out green crack and switch it for Alien Dog.
You're at work, like looking around,
Yeah.
like I'll take.
Oh, it's my doctor. And on top of that, the guy who gave me the prescription, Dr. Ferrari.
Yeah.
Nice.
And you walk into his office and it's a fucking fold-up table and a plastic chair. You're like,
That's for sure. He's got like.
Dr. Mid-size sedan.
That's for sure. Dr. Camry, if anything.
Yeah. Just remember thinking like, come on, dude.
Tattoo, like a couple piercings and stuff. Yeah, I just got my doctorate online.
No, it's fucking legal, man.
Dr.
It's a lot
Ferrari.
easier than you think to become a doctor these days, I tell you.
There's one, I can't remember what comedian it is, but I think it's Tom Segura, but he's like, yeah, this guy was a doctor because he put DR period in front of his name.
Dude, I did that. Did I ever tell you about this? I did a show in the Yukon, and they sent us emails, and they're like, hey, do you guys want to do like phone interviews for like the newspaper? And we were like, yeah, absolutely. And then they interviewed the headliner. And then instead of interviewing me, they had my phone number and like my Skype, and instead of doing any of that, they just Googled me, which brought them to my Twitter, and my Twitter says Dr. Alex Fortin. The bio is totally a real doctor, average size penis. And they wrote in the newspaper, I had one paragraph, and it said like, I was with Lars, and it was like, Callio's frequent road companion is a medical doctor and has been doing stand-up for about 4 years.
Oh my God.
It was the fucking best. It's in a
If you're
newspaper.
a medical doctor, you're definitely going to be doing stand-up.
Well, yeah.
Because
If I know anything about doctors, yeah, they have a lot of free time.
Tons of it.
It was so ridiculous. It was like, what?
Dr. Alex Fortin.
And the bio literally says totally a real doctor. Like, what kind of doctor would put that in their bio?
A totally real
I
one.
promise you, I'm legit. Seriously.
Yeah, Dr. Ferrari would have that in his bio.
Yes, he would.
Totally a real doctor.
Oh my God.
Even natural paths, you're looking at this guy like, really, dude?
It was so funny. And then I brought the newspaper on stage and read it to all the people, and they were laughing. And I was like, you all know. You can all tell.
You can.
I was like 23 at the
They
time. I
still
was like,
called
oh
you
my
doctor after they spoke to you. Hey, wow.
That's amazing. Did you just like wear a white coat around at that point in time a lot too?
You should have.
I definitely should have. I didn't do anything. Like, it was so crazy.
Yeah, I'm selling CDs and prescriptions at the back.
Everybody needs any good stuff. I got it.
Does anyone need any alien dog? Yeah, it was. I was sitting there, and they're like, "Oh, okay, we have either blueberry, alien dog, or purple diesel or something." I'm like,
Purple diesel.
"Could you just pick one?"
Do you have to pronounce it dog?
Yeah, like I'll have alien dog. No, it's, you know what it is. I'll have alien dog. Thank you,
Now,
sir.
is that like a hybrid? Is it mostly like an indica, sativa?
It's a purebred.
Is it purebred?
Purebred.
It's out of this world.
So ridiculous. That's the dumbest thing about legalization for me.
Is the
Or
names?
even like I was very surprised in the medicinal side because I was like, guys, seriously? Like,
Yeah.
imagine they did that with other prescriptions. You like, get your antidepressant. It's like purple sunrise.
You
You're
start
like,
calling it the street names. They're like, you're just going. You're like, can I get some Adderall? They're like, you mean speed? You're like, what?
Yeah, I guess.
Is that what? Yeah. Okay. Sure. That's what I call it when I said when I you take it. I'm not planning to sell this. Who said that?
That's so funny. I'm so scared to try drugs, man. I'm so scared because I know how much I'm going to love them. That's what Sober October has taught me, is that I fucking love drugs and alcohol.
You know, everybody's got their thing.
I don't think that's what they're going for when they say
Yeah.
you don't appreciate drugs and alcohol enough. Take a month off.
Yeah.
It'll really make you appreciate things after.
When you get high in November, you'll really appreciate it.
Wow. And to be fair, a tolerance break will fuck your shit up.
Oh, I know. I'm going to die. I also know that I have no self-control, so I'm going to green out. For sure.
Man.
I think I've only greened out like maybe twice.
Yeah, I've greened out twice.
Yeah. The first time I was like 17 or something like that, or 16. I like smoked this girl's weed out of her brother's bong at her house, and I was 17. I was like, okay, just take a rip and whatever. And I was immediately like on the couch, just like losing it, and had like I was like, I need to get home. Needs to be somewhere safe, and like who can I call to come pick me up? I'm on the north side. I live in Mill Woods. And
Oh God.
called my sister. She knew I was fucking. She never told anybody though.
She
That's good.
knew.
Older sister?
Yeah, older sister.
Nice. That's huge.
Yeah, she pulled through.
You've probably kept a few secrets for her over the years.
one. I think.
Tell it to us.
Yeah, why don't you tell us?
Don't think I could go there. She could be listening.
One of Will Hannigan, one of our comedy friends, one of his buddies, Keenan. Hi, Keenan. He's come to our secret show, which
Okay.
is on Thursday nights at Orange Hall.
Not
And
a
it's
secret anymore.
That's correct.
Yep.
The secret is
Cool.
yeah, and poor Keenan has greened out a few times.
That's that show.
The last one that he was at, he came up to me before and he's like, "Oh man, I've greened out like the last like 3 shows." And I was like, "Oh damn, like that sucks."
No kidding.
and so partway through the show, he came out of the room because it was kind of like before the staircase out. There's a little area, and he's sitting there like, "Oh god," and I'm like, "Oh damn." And he went to the bar to get a Powerade, and as the lady was handing him his Powerade, he completely passed out from standing.
Oh.
Holy.
Matt
I knew.
Alladine was on stage, and he's just like,
That guy needs help.
yeah.
I heard about him passing out. I didn't know it was while he was standing. I thought he just like passed out in a
I know.
chair, like hard.
That's why I make sure to tell people it was from standing, because if someone passing out at a show like that, you'd expect to just fall asleep
Yeah.
or something. But it was, and I was standing right like
He just,
maybe 10 feet back, and it's just
folded.
onto his back.
Oh,
Maybe hit a
good
chair or
Lord.
something on the way down. I don't know,
Got
but it was
concussed.
like, oh my god.
And like, at least when you green out at like home or like at like a friend's place or something like that, but like in public,
A public green out would be tough.
Yo,
That
You don't
is-
want that.
it's harsh tokes, man.
Harsh tokes, bro.
I was in
Fucking rates, man.
Costa Rica in like May, and there's these two. We were just like making friends with everyone. We made a bunch of friends with locals, which was like the best way to fucking travel. And so we're at this like bar with all these locals, and we met these guys, and we were playing like these drinking games. And then these 2 dudes had vape pens, and I was like, "Yo, is that weed?" And they're like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yo, I haven't smoked like all week. Do you mind?" And they're like, "No, not at all." And these 2 dudes were passing their vape pens back and forth, being like, "Oh, try mine, try mine."
Yeah.
And I was like middlemaning for it, and I was like, "Okay." I thought it was like a weed vape. It was a fucking shatter vape.
Nice.
So I was just middlemaning these 2 fucking shatter pens,
Yep.
and like 20 minutes later, I just looked at my girlfriend and all of her friends. I was like, "Guys, I have to go back to the hostel right now. Like, I don't trust anyone in here.
God.
I think these guys might be drug dealers. I don't know if this was weed or what the fuck is happening. I need to go right now." And they got so mad at me. They're like, "Oh my fucking God. Like, why would you just take some random guy's like vape pen?" I was like, "I don't know. We were hanging out with them for an hour and they seemed cool, okay?"
That's how people get murdered and skinned.
I know.
Whereabouts in Costa Rica were you?
Hako.
It's a great place.
Amazing, dude.
Yeah, it's a super cool town.
Have you been like sort of all around, or have you?
So back in 2012, I did a bicycle tour from Mexico all throughout Central America.
Oh
So,
my God.
So from
bicycle
Oh,
tour.
what?
Yeah, so from Cancun to Belize. Oh my God! Sorry. Yeah, so from Cancun to Belize, then it's Guatemala, I think, and then it's like El Salvador, then Honduras, then Nicaragua, and then Costa Rica.
Holy shit!
And yeah, so we biked through Jaco, and then we went up into the mountains and stayed in a town called Mastatal, and like we did like 1,800 kilometers in like 13 days.
God.
Oh
13
my
bit?
God!
Yeah, we were.
You guys were
cooking.
cook. Yeah, that's
It was.
holy.
Yeah, so like I got to see a lot of places. Didn't spend a lot of time in each place just because we were
Yeah.
passing through, but yeah, it was a cool trip.
Yeah,
So
that's
I got to like see a little bit of Costa Rica mostly because when we got there, I ended up working on a chocolate farm for a couple months.
Oh, wow.
that's sweet.
Yeah, it was cool, man. It was fun.
Whereabouts was the chocolate farm? Like in Hako or near
No,
Hako?
so it's like up in the Costa Rican mountains in a town called Mastatal. And yeah, the town's got like maybe a population of like 40 people.
Wow.
And then like it's got like a number of farms on it, so lots of people who do like woofing, like working on organic farms abroad, will like go in there and like volunteer at like whatever place. The place I worked at and volunteered at was called La Iguana Chocolate Farm.
Nice.
So yeah, got to make chocolate.
That's pretty cool.
That's sick.
Pretty sweet, pretty fun. Yeah,
That's awesome.
You travel a lot, or?
that was like the last like big kind of trip that I did. I mean, like I've gone like other places. Most recently, would have been like last year, I guess. I went to Portland for my honeymoon,
Nice.
and that was a lot of fun. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you guys, when you were in Costa Rica, did you almost get run over by everyone?
yes. So on the man, the cycling there in Costa Rica was the worst.
It's
Because
insane.
the shoulders of the highway are like nothing.
Oh
and-
my god.
Dude, it's fucked. The roads are fucked. We rented a car, and after like 3 days, I literally told the girls, I was like, okay, listen, no more sleeping in, because I'm not fucking driving home in the dark anymore, because there's no street lights, there's nothing. People are lunatics. There's no shoulder. Motherfuckers pass like on the inside oncoming lane through turns. I'm like, fuck this, dude. I'm not driving after 6 p.m.
Yeah, my saddlebags got like brushed up by like a vehicle a couple times, like during this one day. It was the worst day of riding that we had. So we were going like through this plateau, and it was like super windy that day. So to kind of keep like upright on the bicycle, you kind of had to lean into the wind a little bit. But anytime a vehicle passed by, it would cut the wind, so you would like lean into it, and then you'd have to kind of counterbalance yourself. And then by the time the
Oh my
vehicle's
goodness.
gone, like the wind's back, and then you're leaning over that way to counterbalance yourself, and you're tipping over that way, and it was just like the most strenuous day of riding. But yeah, got like our saddlebags clipped a couple times, like high-sided, like over my bike, like and like fell.
And they're
hard
like,
a couple times.
the whole country is like mountains.
Yeah,
It's like, so your legs must have been like done.
yeah, it was silly.
I'm also guessing no one stops when they clip your bag.
No, of course not. Like, yeah, no. And like also like during that trip too, like we stopped for water at like some little like shack on the side of the road, and I did this trip with one other guy, and he speaks like perfect Spanish. My job like was just like, stand by the bike, you know, like
Yeah.
all right, cool.
Hola, hola amigos, hola.
Hola, ¿cómo estás? And he was saying that the lady he was talking to said that there was a group of cyclists like 2 days ago that was going by there, and they had gotten robbed by bandits. And
Bandits?
yeah, like
Dude,
so
it's
like,
that happened.
like
That's
every
why I'd be terrified of a trip like that.
oh dude, it was nuts. Like each sign you go by is just like riddled with like bullet holes and stuff like that. I mean, it wasn't even that long ago that entire part of the world was like in civil war.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like, and there's
dude, look at Mexico right now. Sure, it's safe to go to resorts and stuff, but there's also like
Don't go to Mexico City.
an incredibly intense war happening between the cartels and the government. Yeah.
for sure.
It's insane, dude.
Yeah.
My mom owns a farm in Colombia, and we went down there, and it's like Colombia's a lot better now, obviously, but like there's still, once you go into the cities, you really see the remnants of like the haves and have-nots, and like the like just the tension and like what went on down there. You're like,
sure.
I've been to
"Ooh."
Mexico City, and it's crazy. I was in an ex's dad was driving us around, and like we got shook down by the cops.
Yep.
A motorcycle cop pulled over the truck and was like, "Hey, you hit me, so I'm just you're gonna pay me money." And he had been around for a while,
Yeah.
so he was like, "No." And the policeman's like, "Okay, we're just gonna go around the corner, and you're gonna pay me." And it was like I was standing there like, "We're gonna fucking die."
This is the end for me.
And it's meanwhile we're on like the busiest road I've ever been on,
Yeah.
and all these cars are passing by honking because they see what's happening, and they're just like these dirty cops or whatever.
Yeah.
But the whole like just everything about that place, you can when you were talking about the haves and the have-nots, you see the huge like areas of like just pure poverty, like shanty towns on the around the city kind of
The
thing.
divide of wealth in those countries is so great. Like
It's
it is
insane.
night and day. It's either you are so rich or you are so poor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
There's no middle class at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we went to this farm, and the lady was like a judge, and then I forget what her husband did, but like they were like in the government in Colombia, and we went to their farm, and they're like, "Yeah, we're turning this into like a resort," and it was like a $2.5 million US farm, and like we were going around and we're like, "This is amazing." They had like all these waterfalls like on their property that I have a bunch of pictures on Facebook with them and stuff. And it was like, wow, this is crazy. And they like fed us and whatever. And it was great. And then you go back like to the town next to my mom's farm, and you just see like little kids like working in shops, like cutting chickens' heads off because that's the only way they can make money. It's like, oh my God. Like,
Sometimes you gotta cut a chicken's head off.
And you know, if you're not a sociopath, how are you going to survive in today's world?
it's so nuts.
You won't. No, it's a. If you don't cut someone's head off, they're gonna cut yours off. Everyone knows that.
It's a dog eat dog.
It's a
world.
it's a dog, eat
Dog.
dog. It's an alien dog eat alien dog world.
That's right.
So what was the best part of the trip? If other than like obviously getting saddlebagged was the best, and then
Saddlebagged, for sure. I think the coolest part was going out into the jungle and
in Costa Rica, or was
yeah,
that
in
in
Costa
like
Rica.
yeah?
And just like going to this like swimming hole that had like a waterfall, and like I like kind of climbed this like cliff to get to the top of this waterfall, and like just did X amount of tricks off into like this little
Nice.
pool. But there was like one like there's like it's not like a nice like round pool where there's like it's like a decent like splash zone. Like you had basically an area to hit as big as this table.
Oh man.
That was safe, but like,
That's
I'm pretty
gnarly, dude.
coordinated and stuff, and like I grew up with like a backyard trampoline,
Nice.
so like I can do a lot of tricks,
Yeah.
and so I was doing a lot of tricks off of this waterfall and like landing in the safe zone, and then like there was a couple other volunteers that came and like saw me doing this, and I was with some other people, and one of them tried to do like a running like backflip gainer.
Oh,
and
no.
He split the bottom of his foot open, like so bad. And we're like a couple clicks
my
into the
God.
jungle too, right? And yeah,
So he's
so-
walking his tiptoes back.
yeah, like I think he like found like a stick or like some kind of like crutch kind of thing.
Yeah.
to
Oh
walk
my
back
goodness.
to the farm on. But and also there's a video on YouTube of me having a dance battle with like a local Costa Rican dude from Massatal to Michael Jackson.
Oh.
And it is a spicy number. I don't think I've been like that drunk in a very long time. They got a bottle of Jägermeister in like at the bar, and like this bar is quite literally just like a slab of wood, like no stools, and then like the dance floor is just like gravel road. It's like right on the main road in the town.
Oh wow.
So, and then you've got like some like sheet metal for like a roof, and then like a couple like plywood shelves kind of thing, like whatever. Like the bar was not much of anything to look at, but it's just like where everyone went and like what you did at night, and then you party hard and you work hard the next day kind of thing. But yeah, they got a bottle of Jägermeister, and like me and this one guy that was volunteering, he came from Japan, finished that, and it was good. It was
Next thing you know.
and I puked, like I would like there's like this part in the video where like I like finish this dance move and then I immediately dip off the gravel road into the bushes and I just yak. And then I get back, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go. Let's keep on going.
What a puke and rally. That's the best.
Puke and
and
rally.
it's like when I was younger too, I would like do like the little cat puke where I just kind of like sneak off and like kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
puke a little bit and like, you know, just like kind of lay down for a little bit. And like 15 minutes go by. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Let's keep
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
going.
dude. I would. That was my big move. Puke and rally was like
Puke and rally.
huge. I would go puke, and people were like, "Do you just puke?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Are you gonna keep drinking?" I'm like, "Yeah, I made room."
The best is
Yeah.
when you
The
find out
reset.
about it for the first time. And you're like, oh,
I
I
can
can puke.
do
And someone's
this.
like, just puke, man. You
Yeah.
should
Put your finger into your throat, throw it up, and keep going.
Yeah, it's hitting the reset button, right?
Turns out your
And I found out you
uvula
can do that with food as well.
You can.
keeps you
Damn.
skinny.
That's how I'm not that good at it.
That's how I keep in. Oh
That's
man.
how
I think that's an eating disorder.
this is how I maintain this status quo of mine.
All you can eat ribs, well, challenge accepted.
That's right. All you can puke ribs.
That's right.
That's good. So, were you a good dancer too? Were you tearing it up in the?
Like, I don't know, good at dancing.
Were you a competent opponent for
when,
this?
like, I used to go out with friends dancing when we were younger. Yeah, like I would be the guy that would go with like a bunch of my girlfriends, and they're like, "Yeah, we like want to go dancing with Marcus because he's so much fun." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And like I'd also be that guy that would like dance like off like other dudes trying to like hit on them. And
Yeah.
stuff. You've probably all seen that guy somewhere or been that.
Been that
guy.
guy.
Yeah, exactly. So that was like one of my go-to roles as a friend. But yeah, like just like knowing music and stuff, and like just being coordinated with my body. I'm like not like good like technically by any means, but I can like move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like understand the beat and what to do with
exactly.
it.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, you're extremely musically talented. Is there anything you can't do musically? Like, do you have a nemesis that you're like, I'm fucking can't play the trombone as hard as I try?
I can't play the trombone. Never tried the trombone. Like any.
So you could play it if you tried, probably. Let's be honest.
You know what the thing is like, it's the
Oh,
thing
yeah.
with the lips. Like I like you kind of like gotta vibrate your lips together, right? And like I can do it a little bit, but then like my mouth just gets all like ticklish and I'm like kind of like freak out, right?
So it is the trombone. I fucking nailed that. I nailed that.
It's brass
Nailed it.
instruments
Brass,
in general.
It's the brass family.
Yeah, but you know, like I haven't played like any kind of like woodwinds or like anything like that. I can't play the violin or the cello.
Okay, is there something within your world that's that
I
you
would
go,
like
ah,
to get,
man?
I would really like to get better at piano. On this
I would love to
record
play piano.
that we're doing right now, or that I'm doing right now, there are like some piano backing tracks, and like I'll have to sit down with the song and like I'll really have to like work on like a part and a movement and I don't really know any music theory either, so I don't really know exactly what I'm doing. I just will like see a pattern and then like hear a pattern and it works with the song and it works with the melody and I will work that for the song.
Dude, it's insane to me how many musicians work that way, because I was okay at music. I had to take band in like grades 7 and 8, and I learned how to read music, and I understood like, okay, like 3/4 time and 4/4 time, and like I got music theory and I could play. But if you took my sheet music away, my saxophone no longer worked. It was like,
I feel that.
That's why he brought up brass. He's like, I can fucking play brass.
no,
But you can't, bro.
it's a woodwind. It has a reed.
It does have a reed. Saxophone is like it's different. It's different than a trumpet.
It's a sexy
It's
ass
so-
instrument.
Saxophone's a gangster. I want to get back into it.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to get back into playing the saxophone. It was cool.
Saxophone's cool, man.
But
It
you
is.
got to get a mute and do all that stuff. And
Horn. Like dampener. Like
yeah,
that?
a little reverse plunger that you
That's
stick in the
right,
end of
that's
it.
right, yeah. Kind of like a little butt plug for your
For
plug
your sax.
for your sax, right? That's right. Exactly.
That's sick. Yeah, man, that's crazy. Because like I've watched the Doors documentary, and that was kind of their thing. And same with who was the Sex Pistols. It was like none of them knew what to do. They just kind of
Sex Pistols never had a clue what to do.
yeah.
None of them could really even play their instruments.
Well,
like Sid Vicious
yeah.
was just like somebody that the
A couple
record.
chords, right?
Well, like there's that, but like Sid Vicious, like when he joined the band, couldn't even play bass. He was just like fit the image,
Yeah.
and they kind of brought him in that way. But I mean, whatever. Sex Pistols are cool, I guess. I'm not a huge fan of like punk music. I'm just like it's just messy and
Yeah.
it's not like. I get it, it's about the attitude.
Yeah.
It's about being
But
messy.
on that same token, though, what I love about like metal, for example,
Sure.
is that every musician is so technically
Oh,
incredible. Like I
absolutely.
play the drums, and I could listen to like a metal drummer just going. It's insane.
Double
Yeah.
bass.
Well, yeah.
And it sounds like it's sometimes at first glance you might be like, oh, it's just some crazy mix, but then you sort of break it down and you're like, wow, like that's
listen to
very intense.
Yeah, you listen to like any metal guitarist's like parts and any kind of modern
Yeah.
like in a lot of modern metal music, but it's basically they're playing classical music essentially, right?
Yeah.
Sped up like a million.
Well, like not even really sped up. If you listen to like I don't know anything that like Marty Friedman did, he was the lead, like one of the lead guitarists for Megadeth.
Oh man.
He's a nuts guitarist, and he would always play in like classical modes and stuff like that. And not like you listen to like a lot of like Bach or like Mozart or something like that. Just imagine like those piano parts or those violin parts just has like highly overdriven guitars, and it's the same shit. It's the same
That's
thing.
crazy. Just bam, 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 bam.
That's what I've always really respected about that genre is
Yeah,
just like,
absolutely.
wow, these guys are intensely gifted musicians.
I think what a lot of people just don't understand about metal music too is that it is so technical, and there is also that crossover with classical music, but a lot of people, like the general listener,
Mm-hmm.
can't get over like
The vocals.
or something
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
That's my
exactly.
issue. I can't deal with the vocals in a metal song.
That's most people's issue with it. But I mean, there's lots of bands now that are kind of doing metal music, and they just have like a really great, clean vocalist.
Yeah, I like Trivium a lot.
Trivium's
and that
great.
Trivium mixes, but they kind of go back and forth between
Yeah.
that like scream and like just a very like melodic.
Absolutely. Yeah, Trivium's dope.
I I grew up. I really, really, really liked like Sum 41.
Yep.
They're the
All
best.
killer, no filler, man.
Yeah,
Dude,
that's such a
it's
good
one of the
album.
best
So
albums
good.
ever.
Such a
It
good
is all
album.
killer with
Yeah.
no filler. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And one of my buddies is big into music. Told me Brown Sound, like the
Yeah.
guitarist, is the one who like wrote the Pain for Pleasure, like at the end.
dude,
Do you remember
yeah.
the end of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Fat
yeah.
Lip video?
Yeah,
They
yeah,
add-
it's his. Yeah, yeah. I
so
remember.
he did that, and then on their first album, Half Hour of Power, there's a song called "Grab the Devil by the Horns and Fuck Him Up the Ass," and it's just instrumental, and it's
Yeah.
like, and then at the end, just the one dude just goes like, "Wow!" and it's like the greatest riff ever. It's
I
fucking
remember
awesome.
seeing Sum 41, and Brown Sound would just like ask the crowd for riffs.
Yeah.
And he would just say like, what do you want to hear? And he would just.
You just shred it, yeah.
Apparently, he's unbelievably talented.
I think he's
and,
one of those
like,
guys that's too talented to be in like
Sum
that
41.
kind of band, and so he's probably doing some like new age, like niche stuff.
Well,
know what he's up-
Sum 41 just can't kind of like had their like reboot, right?
Yeah.
Did
And-
they? I thought
yeah.
Derek went like way off the rails after Avril Lavigne and like got super
I think he
skinny. And
has.
Yeah, he did, but I mean, I think within the last couple of years they've kind of rebooted and stuff like that.
shit.
And but yeah, I mean, that's even like in their lyrics, like fat
Fat
lip.
Lip.
I think it's like Maiden and Priest,
Priests were the gods that we praise.
And
Yeah.
yeah, like Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, like those two bands are absolutely great. And if
Yeah.
you're like growing up listening to that and you're playing guitar, you're gonna learn how to play like that.
Pain for
Like,
Pleasure
yeah.
is such a dope song.
It's
too.
so good.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
good.
Pain for Pleasure, Ride the Chariot, and Grab the Devil by the Horns and Fuck Him Up the Ass are like the three songs that like are you can see Brown Sound was just like, we're putting these out.
Yeah.
These ones are mine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I need to flex a little bit.
And also, like at that time, like pop punk was just like so popular, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's what it
like,
was.
Whether or not like he was like, I could, shred over this or not, but like he played to the genre, he played to the songs, and like
Totally.
he got them where they were.
He got
right?
them.
Yeah.
They were very popular
Yeah.
Dude,
at their.
I think
peak.
I still think they're a great band. Have you guys listened to the new Blink album?
No.
I haven't listened yet either, but I'm going to.
I
I listened to about 45 seconds of their like single, and I mean like I'm watching this music video, and I'm like, this is kind of pathetic. You're playing like this. You guys are in your 50s. And
They're in their 50s?
Yeah, man, they're old.
Dude.
And they are like playing in a high school gymnasium. They're trying to be
that's-
young and cool, and it's creepy.
That's
is
what
it is.
when I was a little bit older and I was Blink 182 came across my table again one day and I was like, it is kind of weird that they were singing teenage angst songs while they were probably in their late 20s.
Yeah.
That's
And,
weird.
and when you
playing to
think
their
about
crowd.
it, yeah, and
Sure.
it's very very much the same as like a sitcom where they're these people are in high school or whatever, but the
Yeah.
actors are
They're
all
40.
much
Yeah.
But yeah, when I see a band like Blink 182 come out with a new album, I'm like, I wonder if they're singing about the issues that their fans back then are now facing, like the second divorce.
yeah.
Right. Exactly.
That's so
I mean,
funny.
like another thing too is like, I guess like Travis Barker has like a daughter now who's like of the age where like, he could be like writing for her generation.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Right. I
Yeah.
still think it's weird.
I
Yeah.
think no, it's totally weird
I mean,
because
and like also like
he's cool,
He's great.
but the rest of them, I don't know.
Here's my criticism of the criticism.
All right.
Is I get it, but the
But you
problem.
still have teenage angst.
Yeah, well, obviously,
We'll
no.
always be teenage
The
angst.
weird thing is, whenever a band or like any musician does try to evolve, all of their fans are just like, "What the fuck is this? Where's the old
Okay.
Blink?"
Sure.
That's the
Yeah,
worst thing about
but
Eminem,
no one-
dude.
I don't think
saw-
anyone's saying that about Blink 182 now, because the old Blink was like, our first date.
Yeah.
I
like-
think they would though. Like if they came
I
out
don't
with
know.
like a really
also,
like
it's I think they had a perfect opportunity to kind of reinvent themselves and also kind of be a bit more mature to also play to their audience that grew up with them.
Yeah.
But I mean, without Tom DeLonge, as like great as the guy is, I mean, aliens do exist. They are out there. But I mean, I think they lost like what was kind of like special about them when he left.
Each guy brought a very distinct thing.
And I mean, their new singer and guitar players from Alkaline Trio, and I never really listened to them much when I was younger. But I mean, he doesn't. It's not the same.
No. That always ruins it for me a little bit when it's a small band and one of the main members, like when Rage Against the Machine became Audio Slave, I was like, fuck Audio Slave, because I was a huge Rage fan, and they're like, yeah, it's the same. Like,
Didn't Chris Cornell go and sing for Audio Slave?
Yep. Yeah. But it wasn't the same,
right.
Even close to the same.
No.
And I just couldn't.
Were they trying to do the same thing though? Because I don't
know
much about that.
Not really, but it was, I don't know. It just, I couldn't even like, it felt like a parent, your parents get divorced and your mom starts dating someone else and you're like, this guy's probably cool, but fuck this guy.
Yeah, I feel that.
I feel like AC/DC is the only band that did it successfully. Because didn't they have a different lead singer?
Their lead singer died, and then they got their new lead singer, and I don't know his name. But he had the voice, right?
Yeah.
Where like, I don't know.
I guess if you have someone that can sort of step in and do a very similar thing, then it's maybe better, but maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean they also put out like awesome hits with the new singer, right?
And that helps, right? Because you start, what have you done for me lately, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's huge.
It does make me laugh that Blink-182 is still making music though, because why?
Yeah, and I mean,
because they ran out of money, Jim.
Yeah, but it is. The more I think about it, the creepier it is that if the songs are still about the same stuff.
And also, just like watching this music video too, and I can see like on Mark Hoppus and this like the guy from Alkaline Trio, they are heavily make-upped. And they were like,
no.
Well, I mean, they're like old, they got wrinkles and stuff like that, and like like it's just like,
all right, fellas, we're gonna put you in this high school gym, but first we're gonna have to cover up those crow's
feet.
feet.
Cosmetology class. We're gonna let the students
to get you into the high school. We're gonna have to get rid of those wrinkles.
I always find it weird when bands do music videos like that, like going back to high school and stuff like that. I mean, it's so played out.
Plus, you might get shot.
Exactly.
These days.
Right.
Yeah. Back in the day, it was safe. Back when
that's how they should do the music video. They're in the school gym, but they all have like bulletproof vests.
They should make it realistic and do the music video from the muster point.
Oh God.
Jeez, that took a dark turn.
I got real dark real fast.
It's an evacuation.
No, for sure.
That's all. Fire drill is what I was saying.
I meant to prove a point about gun violence. Have you guys made a music video yet? Have you got that far?
It's hard, man. I mean, like,
I can't imagine. Its production value's got to be expensive as shit just to start
especially
with.
if you want to do something that is, I don't know, like that looks half decent, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I don't have money to pay out like somebody like $5,000 to do a video.
Yeah.
And I mean, that will like get you like an okay video.
Yeah. It's like, if you're using a guy who has like a red camera and like a crew and you have to rent like a space, it's like
that's for all those guys, people for the equipment, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then you've got to scout locations and stuff. I mean, I've got like a number of different video ideas that are low budget DIY, could be done. It's just going to take time.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But it can be done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something, when the record's done, we're going to try and get a video or two done, but it's going to be very DIY. And
Nice. Do you know which songs for yet? Like, do you have them picked out?
I've got an idea for one of the singles off the record. It's called Baby's Blood. And it's a funny title, but the song like is like half like written about my wife, because she's got a blood type that can that only babies can receive, and she donates blood a lot.
Oh shit!
So
is it like an AB positive or something weird?
I have no idea what her blood type is. It's probably something I should learn actually, in case something happens. But
note to self.
Note to self: find out Sally's.
Well, I'm
blood
sure
type.
if you went the one that only goes with babies, they'd be like, okay,
Oh yeah, for
Right.
sure. Yeah, but there's a music video idea for that. and that one will probably take the most time. And then there is a pretty low budget, straightforward music video idea I have for another single off the record called Reckless. And that one is going to, like, the basic idea for it is it's going to be a kind of like a one-shot video where the camera's going to be following around this woman who gets a call or a text or something like that, and then she's kind of rushing to get herself ready to go out. And then throughout the entire shot of the video, you see different band members in different rooms of her place, like playing their instruments and stuff like that. So, got to find somebody that would want to do that, and the time and stuff, and get a camera, get a steady cam and stuff like that. I mean, you could basically shoot like a music video on an iPhone. You just got
you absolutely could.
I was gonna say, look at those shot on iPhone commercials, man.
Exactly. You just got to get like a steady cam and like learn how to use like a video editing software, and it's something
storyboard things out and
exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like there's I've got tons of ideas for videos. I mean, there's this other video for a song on a record called Sometimes. It was also on the EP. That we put out in 2016, I think it was.
Listening to that on the way here. Brushing up, yeah.
So
it's good, man.
He's going to go home and check his Spotify plays. You know that.
That record's actually not on Spotify. It's only on Bandcamp. I figured for the first EP, I'm like, I don't know. It's not like super polished or anything like that. It's all production that I've done myself. I mastered it myself and everything like that. Sorry.
No worries.
Get a phone call.
Hollywood.
I know, right? Just turn airplane mode on. There we go. And so, like, sometimes is like it's mostly instrumental. It's got like one verse or like maybe two verses in the entire song, but the whole music video idea I had for it was a couple get into a fight, and one leaves out the front door to their vehicle, the other one leaves out the back door to their vehicle, and they both are driving, and then throughout the video you kind of see flashbacks of when they were getting along and kind of like romantic and in love and stuff like that. And like there's this one spot where they have like a lot of memories, and it's on this bridge, and essentially when the guitar solo kicks in of the song, like both cars are coming from opposite directions on the bridge and they get into a head-on collision, and then the song ends at the end of the guitar solo and they're dead in each other's arms essentially.
Oh my goodness.
So it's heavy, and like
Love
production on that would be
a lot.
Yeah.
There's
It'll be
25
funny.
Car crashes are expensive to film.
You see them
believe
moving
it.
towards each other, and then there's like a crude drawing.
Yeah, could do
like
it
a
all like in
child.
claymation stop,
Yeah,
motion animation kind of thing.
That'd actually be a pretty cool. If you could find someone who could nail claymation, that'd be a really cool claymation video.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think
that ups the price.
Yeah, it would probably be way more expensive.
It's gonna take 5 years.
Yeah.
I can't imagine like
Just
the kind
nobody
of,
touch this model, please.
Or you could just like make a few like small sets and like just like repaint your like Star Wars action figures or something like that.
That's true.
to be
Or
the
you could set up a
characters.
camera on a bridge and wait for a crash.
wait for a head-on collision.
It's gonna be a long wait.
Cut.
Just start putting up pylons to like guide people into each other's path.
That's the way to do it.
On the iconic Walter Dale Bridge.
That's right.
Oh no, that's a one-way.
All the bridges in Edmonton are one-ways. It's the most frustrating thing in the world.
I never thought of that.
Oh man, that means I'm gonna have to shoot this video outside the city. Thank goodness, because most like honestly, like you see like anybody's like music video from Edmonton, like, and I don't know. Do you have a music video?
Not yet. I've got some
Okay.
like very just more just content-y stuff.
Yeah.
But
So I don't know. I feel like so many locations in Edmonton are so played up.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like
well, we
everyone-
only have
everyone-
9.
Everyone's shooting on White Ave. Everyone's shooting like by the Moutard or something.
Well,
like
now that there's the Rust Magic murals all over town too,
Yep.
there's like, awesome graffiti and stuff, but it's like,
The amount of times I've
Yeah.
seen like
and
Edmonton
also
people
don't judge me if mine's there.
I won't.
that like
It's urban. It's cool. It's good.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
what's that like neon? All the neon signs,
Yeah,
like
the
Neon Alley or whatever the hell it's called
Across
outside of
from
Mercer.
Mercer,
Yeah,
Yeah.
That place too. Yeah.
I've seen a million pictures and
Oh, yeah.
videos and posts and like
Yeah,
everything from
I
there.
don't know. I think that like with any kind of video or like visual experience that I want to attach onto the music, I want to try and make it as original as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And create like a set or something like that.
yeah. Well, it seems like
Yeah.
all your stuff is very, and this is kind of what drew me. I literally saw you perform and went outside and I was like, I need to get
Yeah.
this guy on the podcast because it seems like everything you do with the music is very like there's a heavy focus on being original. It's like I can't
sure.
think of anyone that does really anything that sounds like what you guys are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That's sweet. That's a great compliment. Thank you.
yeah, no worries.
I mean, you know, for bands in Edmonton, like you've got like your indie bands that are doing kind of like dream pop and stuff like that. Edmonton's got a crazy huge metal community. And then you've got like a few like hip hop people, and like I don't even know much about the hip hop scene in Edmonton.
I know a little bit, but
Yeah.
not much. I'm just kind of doing my own thing.
Exactly, which is great.
The Swollen members used some dudes. They had like Battle Axe Warriors in Edmonton for a while.
Oh,
They're
really?
buddies with like Drew, like a bunch of the
Oh,
Beverly Boys.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, a place that I think would be that I've thought for a music video for kind of like a one take, like one shot kind of thing is the High Level at night with the lights and stuff. You
Yep.
can get like a nice dramatic,
Absolutely.
and then bring your own bits of lighting or whatever.
For sure. That'd be good.
But yeah, it's you're right. There are a lot of there's only so many places in town.
There really are. And I mean, like, I think not enough people really utilize their own space and trying to make their own space kind of unique and cool and like filmable too. I mean, there's like this room that I've got in the basement of my house, and I mean, you put up a couple white sheets and get some lighting, and it's a perfect backdrop that you could use for any kind of scene. I mean, you could set up a green screen there if you wanted to,
Yeah.
and like get props and lighting, and you can make it work.
That's part of the idea of this room that we're in today.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of lighting stuff, kind of like a mobile. It all fits into this bag over here, and we can kind of sort of take it wherever. And putting a backdrop across here or whatever. But yeah, you're right. There's endless opportunities, and I guess that brings up a good point too, because in Edmonton there's a lot of like not outside. There's a lot of like inside like spaces that are super cool.
Yeah.
Everywhere. There's
Well, because we have to be inside all fucking years.
just unique spaces all across the city.
There are, yep.
And I'm sure that's the same in every
like,
city.
honestly, you have that one kind of like weird friend that's like super eclectic, and their house is kind of like a mess, but they've got like all these like weird things like all over the place.
Yeah.
Those kinds of places are great to film. Or like your grandparents' house or something like that.
Yeah.
Like that's like really, really dated.
Yeah.
You can totally just like put on some clothes and you could throw yourself back in time into
That's
the
true.
80s or
Yeah.
to the 70s,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's really interesting that when people try and like make something or like have like a focused energy on something, they get away from what they know. Like if you go with someone back to their neighborhood, they can show you all the cool spots and like, oh, we used to do this here, and like, oh, there's this cool thing over this way, and they're like, oh, me and my friends found this little place. Like if you go in the ravine, and they're like, there's this big opening, and then you're like, okay, cool, like we're gonna film this sketch. Does anyone know locations? And everyone's like, why don't we go to White? You're just like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, people automatically think like White Ave because it's like the one place in Edmonton everyone knows. It's super accessible, it's super relatable, right, to their audience and stuff like that too. But I mean, then you kind of distract away from any kind of like originality too.
And it's familiar to the Edmonton audience, but
Exactly.
do you want your music to go anywhere else beyond the city limits? You know,
Hopefully. I would
That's
hope people have that kind of drive.
Yeah.
I know I do.
It's really interesting. And Brad, my roommate, and I were talking yesterday about how everyone who like I want to be always just did their own thing. They never looked at who they wanted to be and then like copied them. It was always like, oh, they're
be
just
yourself.
doing.
Everyone else is taken, man.
Yeah, literally.
Like honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
I mean, like everyone's got their influences and stuff like that, but I mean, you know.
And I think, the most well-rounded just people in general are the people that have had more experiences in a broad range of situations and
getting their feet wet and everything.
Yeah, and even just going back to talking about incredibly talented metal musicians who are playing classical code, like that's that's a whole other, you wouldn't expect it. Put it that way. You wouldn't expect like a guy who's just slaying a metal song to be like, my favorite symphony is.
Yeah. I like do this on the side, third. Really, I play cello.
That's
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Absolutely.
But it just goes to show you that like the broader your range of experience that you're open to, even you can almost tell actually someone that is open and someone that's like nope, this is how I do things. This is how they do things, and this is
the way to do
Yeah.
the thing.
And like another thing too, especially like with shooting video, for still kind of talking about that.
Yeah.
But just having good taste and knowing, like, looking at like a film that's already been done and how scenes are shot.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people when they watch a movie look at how a scene is shot.
Yeah.
They really don't. I think that, like, as far as framing goes and color and texture and atmosphere, I mean, like, Wes Anderson does it so well. Same with Quentin Tarantino, and they're
Yep.
like all like self-taught dudes, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, and it's just because and it's unique when you watch them, and it's because you're like, yo, this is a Tarantino vibe, and it's because Quentin Tarantino had a camcorder when he was a kid, and he's like, well, this is how I always shot, and this is the way that I found that it works best for me,
exactly.
and that's how he made it, and now it's like iconic.
Yep.
And I think it's easy to pass over how simple it can be.
It is.
A backdrop with the right lighting can create every piece of mood that you're trying to put out there.
Yep.
But, a lot of people sit there and think, well, I could never, it's so beyond me to do anything like that. But it's not. And especially these days where
Dude.
everything is so much more accessible, as far as like a $10,000 camera 10 years ago is your iPhone or something, right?
For sure.
And you think what the cost of entry even 10 years ago is nothing compared to what it is now.
I
really.
guarantee I got hooked up big from Freedom Mobile. Got the new phone. I got the Samsung Galaxy S10, and it's got like the 3 cameras on the back or whatever. I guarantee if you go back like 40 years, the cameras on my phone are better than whatever technology we had. Like, it was impossible to film something better than what I can film on my phone like 50 years ago.
I think people often forget that too. Is that
10 years.
Yeah.
we're all basically holding the best camera we've ever owned.
Yep, for sure.
And
It's so crazy.
And like when you brought up filming it on the iPhone, like that's at work, we had someone come in who did one of those filmed on an iPhone commercials to basically teach us that you can do everything. There's a lot of news footage is filmed, like the whole package filmed on an iPhone, and most of us don't know when we're watching it. You don't know that all this stuff you're watching is filmed on. You're picturing this, the over the shoulder and all this stuff, and in reality, it's all within like what we have.
You just get like a small Steadicam, and you can put your phone in it. If you want a directional mic, you get like a little attachment. You're looking at maybe like $300 for the best camera ever.
Yeah,
Dude.
Yeah.
Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee is filmed on GoPros.
Yep.
You can see like the GoPros in the car when it takes like different angles.
GoPro's another great example of like it's what you can do with them, and obviously like the footage itself is like it'd be unthinkable 10 years ago.
Can you imagine what you'd have to strap up to a motherfucker to like be like, all right, we're gonna film you taking this hard snowboard run, like go do your like backflips over the fucking jumps. We'll just stick it on the top of your helmet.
down the mountain with you over the shoulder camera.
Well, you look at like old snowboard videos or something like that, and they've got massive cameras, and like it's a guy having to go like really slow, or they're stationary and they're just like filming from the ground, and like also drones now.
Yeah.
Drones
Oh
and
man.
cameras, like
Drone cameras are nuts.
It's so crazy what footage gets captured these days. Like, and dash cams and all that stuff too. But I saw a couple weeks ago there was a lady doing a hike somewhere, and she was inching up to the edge of a waterfall, and her foot slipped on the rock, and she fell 50 feet. But she was wearing a GoPro, and the New York Post or someone put this video on their website, and you're just watching her go up. You see her slip, and you're with her the whole way down, and that is insane to me. The camera survives. Like it's you see her like go way deep in the water. You see her kind of struggling. You see her get out. You just think like, man, this is just a normal person, and this footage is everywhere.
Dude. And also like waterproof electronics.
Yeah.
Like
I remember the disposable cams you could put.
in the big cases.
And they had like they were like all bubbly and whatever.
My grandfather, my Opa, he still has his waterproof camera, and that's like his camera. And
Man.
Yeah, it's a big, like massive thing. Yeah, it's funny.
It's so funny.
That's so funny. I remember in high school we found we were gonna go to Mexico, and we found like a disposable waterproof camera at like Walmart. And we're like, what? No way! And my girlfriend had like an above ground pool, so we like went in her backyard. Does it actually work? And like taking pictures like underwater and shit. It's like what? And now you're like, you can get a case and you can shower with your phone.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's like what?
Yeah, the barriers to doing amazing stuff are not really there in a lot of ways.
Nope, they're not. Not
Which
at all.
is, and I think we all try to remind ourselves that sometimes being in the kind of creative spaces, like we can do. I say this to Alex often, like whatever ideas we have, like
we can do them.
we can do them. We just have to find them. And it's about finding friends that are doing the thing that you need. So
Yeah, that's true too.
oh, my buddy's doing videography and stuff, and he's doing all this stuff on the side, and you go, okay, well,
Hook me up with that, homie.
come
Yeah.
to my shows, and all of a sudden you have access to everything.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like with the amount of like tutorials and things you can find like
On YouTube.
That's
YouTube
it,
University,
you
baby.
can quite literally learn how to do anything in a week.
Fucking
Yeah.
YouTube you, man. It's the
Yeah.
greatest thing in the world. I learned how to use Reaper, which was the editing program that I had for my old podcast because of YouTube. I learned how to use this Allen and Heath Z10 mixer because of YouTube.
Yep.
Like every single thing that I know
Yeah.
how to do in like technology wise is
Yeah.
learned on YouTube.
Well, and the internet is basically the reason I never put too much thought into like, oh, I need to learn how to code. I need to learn how to do all this stuff. Because basically working in like the digital space, like, oh, can you do this on the website? Just fucking look up how to do it and then do it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you don't need to invest in learning it.
Yeah.
I spent so much money on tuition for audio engineering school.
Oh yeah.
And the amount I learned at school was pretty tangible. Like, you got to use some pretty cool hardware and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I've learned more off of YouTube in the last like 2 years than I did in
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
in
And
secondary.
and probably in the time that you're out there working.
Yeah.
Like that's
Honestly-
where you learn a lot of the real. You get the core stuff from wherever, but the actual like, this is what I need to do the job. You learn on
the job.
On
Yeah,
the job.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Honestly, like it feels like a lot of stuff, especially at like when you're doing like audio engineering stuff like that. It feels like a lot of the university stuff is just showing you what's out there is like the important
it's also
part.
about networking.
Yeah.
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 Huge
And the
networking
technology has probably changed to a degree since you've left.
Well, not. I mean,
No?
like, you get into like a recording studio or like a post-production studio, and all that kind of stuff stays like pretty much the same. I mean, you've
yeah.
still got like your massive like consoles, you still got your tracking room and stuff like that.
Yeah,
You've
that's
got
fair.
all of your hardware like compressors and like EQs and like reverbs and like all kinds of effects that you got to use in a patch bay to connect to your channels and stuff like that. And I mean, it's the hardware stuff is it's always going to be there, but I mean, it's mostly when you get into like mixing or like working like in the computer in the box where there's like plugins and stuff like that and like different algorithms and
Right.
stuff like that. That's where it's changing. But I mean, like, in any kind of like legitimate recording studio, and I'm not saying that any kind of like mixing inside the box or anything like that isn't legitimate. I mean, that's what I'm doing for our record, and it's sounding pretty good. But I mean, that technology, the hardware, it's always going to be the same.
Huh. Interesting. I've noticed a lot of like live sound. There's a lot of iPad soundboards now. and
Yeah,
that-
so
I don't know. Like, is
the
that?
Behringer
How do you feel about
The
that?
Behringer X32 is one of the best live consoles and also studio consoles that you can buy. And I mean, you have the option to connect your iPad so you can control parameters without actually being at the mixer.
Yeah.
Right? So I mean, that part of it's cool.
But I've seen ones where there's no mixer anymore. Like I've performed somewhere once and I was like, oh, can I plug in to the soundboard? And the guy's like, I don't know.
Well, that's just the thing. They don't know. We're like whoever's running the place. I mean, like I got the opportunity to do sound for a show at Have Mercy, and they were like, okay, I got there, and like I'd never gone there for a show before, and they're like, okay, here you go, and they gave me an iPad. I'm like, okay, where's the console? So it's like, oh, it's all tucked away. You just use this. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
You just kind of gotta fake it. I mean,
I also had the opportunity to do a show at fucking Have Mercy. And yeah, I ran into the same problem. I was just like, hey man, like this soundboard is set up for like a band. Like there's like reverb and like there's effects and like I'm like I need everything off. Like I'm like I want them to hear my voice as you hear it when we're talking to each other, and everyone there was just like
well, that's the thing, right? I mean, it's like they have every capability to do it. It's just they don't maybe have like a designated sound tech that works there, right? And that's a lot of places.
And that's I was gonna say that's probably very common.
Yeah, totally is.
Well, we had that issue at one of your shows where I had to go up and be like, I'll stop the mic from cutting out. Don't worry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every time someone went, it was just like, everything
just like
cut out.
just totally overload the channel.
Yeah, any hard consonant just blew it, so the safety kicked in to not blow out the speakers and would just cut all the sound. And it's like, fucking.
If anything, just dip 8K a little bit, get rid of some of that sibilance.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, and Have Mercy is a great venue. I mean, like I've played shows there before, and I've got nothing against it. But I mean, as far as working with, like being new to working in sound and stuff like that, if you're going to run a place, have a like with, and you've got the technology and you've got the hardware and stuff, just have somebody that like works it.
Dude, well, even like we said, like YouTube, like you can learn how to use your own
Figure it out
device. You
yourself.
can teach a manager and be like, listen, you're a manager and we have sound. We have people coming in who need sound. So part of your job as the manager is to learn the basics of this system.
And you know, it's funny. Like I feel that in the not the entertainment industry, the service industry, I feel that atmosphere and like music and maybe even like the way people dress when they go out to like fancy restaurants or something like that. It's gone downhill. I mean, like I went to the Keg and they're playing like some playlist and like, that has like Red Hot Chili Peppers and like whatever on it, and like there's people like wearing their hockey jerseys and like their sweatpants and stuff like that. I mean, like come on, like put yourself together. I mean,
it's $100 for me.
Everybody's got money, sure, but I mean, like have some like dignity.
Just try not to look like a piece of trash.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah, it's really weird.
It is a little odd, isn't it?
Edmonton's a weird place like that, I think, because there's a mix of rich people and rich people who like work, with their hands.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, and it's like you were saying, the music thing is a big one for me, and the worst part is that like the companies force it. Like I work in restaurants. I've been working in restaurants for as long as I've been doing comedy, and they're like I have access to change the music at my place of work and be like, look, I can put on like a decent playlist. Like I can go find a good Spotify playlist or like do something. They're like, no, we have our 6 playlists that we have to play.
It comes from management. It comes from like head office and stuff like that. And it's like brutal because
It's
like,
terrible.
And my customers are complaining about it. My customers are like, yo, these are this. I hear.
Okay, well, can you just turn it off then?
Yeah.
Like honestly, I mean, when the music from like the lounge like is leaking into like the dining room and you can like just hear like nothing but bass while you're trying to like have like a nice like meal with like your family or something like
Womp,
that. I mean,
womp.
yeah, you're dropping the ball hard.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. And like there's not a lot of places. That's the other weird thing. It's like there's not a lot of places that you can go and there'll be like a live band playing music while you like do whatever it is in the place. Like most places now are either a DJ or like a guy running a system or just like playlists. It's like I just want to see a 4-piece band up there just playing some casual music, like somewhat like quiet enough that we can all chill.
And not like okay, the band's playing, let's all watch. Just like they're over there playing.
You have your jazz quartet. They're playing on the stage. They're not making a huge spectacle of themselves. They are quite there just to create the atmosphere.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of places that do that.
I can't think of anywhere in Edmonton.
Blue Chair Cafe.
It's probably a cost thing, right? First.
Yo, Blue Chair Cafe, write that down. Let's hit them up and see if they want to come on the podcast.
You could.
That sounds. I want to promote anywhere that's gonna do stuff like that. Hell yeah.
They're a pretty good place for live entertainment and stuff like that.
Podcast.
I haven't been there for like years, but yeah, as far as I remember, a place.
Nice. Yeah, like them, and then Blues on White, obviously, but that's a more of a the band is the focus. And,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. For sure.
So. Yeah, have you done any of those shows? Because your band, like I said, you're very original in my head. It's very different.
So as far as the band goes, I have really only been playing with a band since like maybe for the last like 6 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I have been performing solo for the honestly since I was 16.
Wow.
Oh,
And
wow.
I've been doing like recordings and like multi-tracking and doing like all the instruments for any kind of project that I've done. But Zachary
wild.
Red has been around since 2013, technically speaking. And so, no, 2014. And so I've been doing solo shows and gigs for that time. I guess it would have been a couple years ago now. Like I took the approach to doing solo performances, but instead of playing guitar and singing, I would play drums and sing.
Oh, cool.
Because
Gnarly.
there's not really anybody that's doing that.
No.
At all. And it's
No.
also like you see
So
somebody
cool.
that is playing drums to like maybe some like, you know, pretty like emotionally driven music that's kind of like, you know, like fast and like, you know, good stuff, whatever. And like seeing somebody that's actually able to sing it and hit the notes,
Man.
it's impressive all in itself. And so like what
I
I would
agree.
do is like I would maybe like I would record guitars and bass and like any kind of backing tracks, and then just take out the vocals and take out the drums, and then I would play along to those backing tracks with
so
drums
cool.
and vocals. And I did a few shows like that.
You're so fucking talented.
Honest to God. Like,
Cheers.
That's so insane, dude.
But I mean, like, you know, there's only so many places you can play like that. And when people find out that your band, like you're just a solo artist, they're going to be like, okay, well, we're not going to book you because we're booking bands for these larger places. Or you're going to be playing guitar in like a cafe somewhere, and you're going to be getting paid like $20.
Yeah.
You know? So it's really been like tricky to try and like make a name for Zachary Red for the band, in like being that we do like the genre of, you know, like, you know, post rock kind of like indie emo music, whatever, and like pop rock kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like saying, yeah, this is what we sound like, but I don't have a band, I don't have guys that I play with or people that I play with, and so I'm just going to be performing by myself. People don't really want to book somebody like that.
Yeah.
If you're going to be playing,
I think it's they probably just don't understand what the.
sure. And I mean, like my hope has been that like, you know, somebody would like hear my recordings and be like, oh, okay, well, you know, we have the resources and we know the people that could be like players in the band.
Right.
I mean, like my bass player, his name's Ryan Holmes. He's a great guy. He plays in like 4 other bands, and so like trying to like coordinate with like him, it's usually pretty good. But I mean, he just got back from like a tour that he was on for like a month.
Oh man.
And stuff like that. And my drummer, Andrew McDonald, he's another awesome dude that I met through another friend, and like he's been sick like for a long time, and like we haven't, you know, had the chance to play music. The last show we played, the last one we all played together, was the show that we met at.
The Lazy Ghost show.
That's right. And so, you know, it's hard to coordinate with other people's schedules too. And I don't know, like I've got the time right now to be able to make this record by myself, and I have the means to and the skills to. So I'm like, well, I know these songs better than anyone. I might as well just do it.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
You're like
It's-
Edmonton's Dave Grohl.
You know,
'Cause
he is one of those guys that just lays it out. He has got a vision. He knows how to play all the instruments, and he does it. The first Foo Fighters record, unreal.
Some of the Nirvana albums, I'm pretty sure he was the studio musician for, like for every instrument
I believe it.
and the backing vocals. I remember finding that out and just being like, "Who is this madman?" Like that's it. That's
Hey, him-
insanity.
Him and Kid Rock and you. I've heard he's actually like unbelievably talented. Like
I would sure hope he is after being in the music industry for as long as he has been. Right?
Yeah, true enough.
I mean, like I'm not a fan of his music
Yeah.
by any means.
me neither.
But
Or his politics,
or his politics.
basically anything about him.
Someone told me they saw him live, and they're like, yeah, he just goes and he'll like play piano, and then he'll go play guitar, and then he'll go play drums, and then he'll like mix, like
That's
he
so cool.
DJs,
That's
and
so
like,
cool.
Well, like good. I mean, like, you know, he like somebody who's like a full-time musician or like an artist like that should.
That's
be
a good
able to do
point.
that.
Yeah,
if you have the time to do all those things without having to work your real 9 to 5, and maybe like another job on top of that to afford your house and your car and all that kind of stuff, and then on top of that try and put time into your music. Like if you have like all that time and all these people around you encouraging you and supporting you in that way,
And YouTube.
and the resources.
and YouTube to learn how to do all these things and the resources. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't be a fucking savant, brilliant
Yeah,
person.
true enough,
Just like Brandon Urie from Panic at the Disco. He's another one of those guys that does like all the instruments, and he's super super talented. He's cocky as hell though, and I hate it. And I hate the way he kind of like talks and treats people. But he's super talented. Also, the guy from Tame Impala, he does all the instruments on their first record too, and all the production too.
That's wild.
There's a band that I really like called The Last Days of April, and I think his name is Carl Larson. He does all the tracking and like all the recording and all the instruments for that too. And then like also like Phil Collins. There's like lots of people that have done it. Right?
Yeah.
But I mean, they also have bands that play with them live.
Well, and it's. I remember when I first heard that about Dave Grohl and Nirvana. I remember thinking like, well, that's like, how do the other band members feel about that? Like, hey, I'm the bass player. Like, yeah, stay home today.
But like at the same
it.
time, it's like, oh well, I'm the bass player in Foo Fighters. Don't have to do much, and I make bank.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always thought that was an interesting dynamic though. Like, one guy is gonna lay all the tracks.
Yeah, but I get that too. Like that was one of the reasons that I basically went to comedy, because I wanted to be an actor like when I was young, and it was just like, I'm so sick of like everybody else having an opinion on what the fuck I'm doing, and like other people like influencing and other people fucking it up for me, where I'm like, no, this is the idea that I have. So it's got to be amazing to have like, this is the idea I have, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to lay it all out, I'm going to have it, and then I just need someone to be able to copycat what I already did.
See, that's the thing too, is I feel like I've developed such a very specific style to the way I play drums, to the way I write bass, and the way I play guitar and I sing, that trying to find anybody to do those things kind of
From scratch?
to the same degree. I mean, like, granted, it doesn't have to be the same as I play it.
Right.
Get it close and like kind of have that feeling and that energy there. But I mean, you know, I feel like with Ryan and Andrew right now, I think that we've done a really, really good job at being able to kind of get Zachary read across to an audience. It's not the same as what's going to be on the record for sure. I mean, I also don't have a lead guitar player. I don't have like a backing like female vocalist. We don't have a keys player and stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, there's going to be elements that are lost in the live show until I can get enough people together that all like see, hey, this is my vision. This is what I want to do. Could you get on board with it? And like also people have egos too.
Yep.
You know, people,
Really?
Truly, they do.
Yeah.
And I mean, for the longest time, it took me, like, I had a huge ego. Like, I could do all this fucking shit, man. I'm the fucking best, man. You got nothing on me. I could do this. And
Yeah.
like, I mean, like,
Yeah.
man, I'm so glad I'm not that person anymore.
Right.
But, you know, playing with these guys, I mean, like, you know, there's going to be things that are different. And, you know, check yourself at the door. You guys are still playing the music, and it's great. And they're bringing their own flavor and style, and it's making it a bit more unique and different, and it's good. I mean, Ryan never played kind of like fast, kind of like rock kind of tunes that I play, and Andrew is a jazz drummer, and we play and like the style of drumming that I try and get across, I guess without the kind of double kick, is kind of like a post-hardcore style of drumming, like bands like Under Oath and basically just Under Oath.
It's Under Oath.
Aaron Gillespie is like one of my favorite drummers, so I listen a lot to him and like kind of that heavier style of music a lot, and so just kind of having it translate into my music that way. And then other bands that I still listen to a lot, and that kind of like really influenced my my playing style has been I get a lot, man, you sound like the singer from Coheed and Cambria. I'm like, well, they're one of my favorite bands, and when I was like in junior high and like learning how to sing, I tried to sing along to that and stuff. But
What is the name of that band? Sorry,
Coheed and Cambria.
I've never even heard
They're
of
like
that.
a progressive rock band from New York. I mean, they have like a few songs on Guitar Hero.
I'd probably hear the
you would know like Welcome Home if you heard it. It's a pretty classic song at this point now. But and then like other bands like songwriters that I really look up to would be like Rivers Cuomo from Weezer.
Yeah.
Awesome songwriter, and like always just like is consistent. And Connor Oberst from Bright Eyes. I used to play nothing but acoustic music, like acoustic folk music, and like there's gonna be records that Zachary Red is gonna put out in the future that are quite literally like folk pop records.
Nice.
And like I've got the material, it's all done, like all the songs are there, and it's just I've got to get around to recording it.
Right.
I've technically got 5 records I could
Oh
put
wow.
out. Like I've got that much material.
That's sick, dude.
So
Good for
it's
you.
It's just like getting to a point be able to get that all done and having the time to do it and do it all right and stuff. But I mean, yeah, like Connor Oberst is great. Isaac Brock, I think is his name, from Modest Mouse. He's a great songwriter. And yeah, I mean, there's so many great songwriters, but I mean, those guys have like really been big influences for me for sure. And then a style of guitar playing that I try and incorporate into a lot of my songs is like a two-handed guitar tapping technique.
Oh.
And a guitar player from a band called Minus the Bear, his name's Dave Knudsen. He's like one of my favorites, and like I really got a lot of inspiration from him into like playing into that kind of style. And yeah, it's, I don't know, I try to take all these little pieces of everything and just try and put my own spin on it. And I mean,
that's art, man.
That's art, right? That's
what
basically
it is.
everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't be 100% original all the time, but you do your best.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was gonna say about your singing. Is it because I think it's great, but when I heard you like speak, I was like, "Whoa, this what?" Because do you like sing like? I'm so ignorant as far as music goes, and I'm sorry about this.
That's fine.
But is it like, is it a falsetto that you're singing, or is it
So
like
no, like a falsetto is you can like sing up high like this, like that's kind of like a falsetto. But like if you can actually sing like that, you can sing up high like this.
What, dude? You said what? That was unbelievable.
Yeah, so like, you know, you just like got to project a bit more. And like I took like vocal lessons when I was in high school from this lady named Olga.
It's always a lady named Olga.
It's always a lady named Olga. She's like, okay, well, how do you want to learn how to sing? I was like, okay, I want to sound like Robert Plant. I want to sound like Sebastian Bach from Skid Row and David Lee Roth from Van Halen. This is my voice. This is how I sound. She's like, oh, well, I don't know who any of those people are. So we're going to get you to sing like Bing Crosby and Frank Sinatra. So you learn how to sing like this in a lower register. And I mean, like, sure, like I can kind of do that. I don't practice singing like that.
Yeah.
If I did, I could do it more. I could be a fucking Buble if I wanted to. But he's taken, so.
He's taken.
You know, like I try and separate myself a little bit with that voice. Like it was funny. We had a garage sale like a few weeks ago, and one of our neighbors, like a family, came over that lived just across the alley from us, and my wife and them are talking, and I hear them chatting and stuff, and the guy, he's like, so, like to my wife, he's like, so do you ever like sing in the backyard when you're doing yard work and stuff like that? And she's like, no, like Marcus is the one who usually does like most of the yard work and stuff, and it's like, oh, it's weird, because like I'm always hearing this great female voice just coming from over the fence, and like, yeah, that's me, man. And so like I invited them to like this like solo show I played, and yeah, they came, which was really, really cool. That like my neighbors came to. They said they would, and they did. So, but yeah, no, that's me singing from across the fence.
That's cool.
So yeah, like I don't know. I feel that a bit of a higher voice has kind of set me apart from a lot of other singers.
Yeah.
And it's like it cuts through a mix a lot better too, and
I really I like it a lot. I was trying to explain to my roommate yesterday because he just asked who we were having on the podcast.
yeah.
And I was like, it's this really interesting. I'm like, you know, like how Vince Neil has a high voice, but somehow it's super like sexy and manly. I was like, it's like that.
It kind of is like that. I mean, like a lot of the 80s like hair metal guys, like they all kind of like had that voice, right? And I mean, rightly so. I mean,
Yeah.
It worked for him, and I mean, I don't do hair metal. I do sing Skid Row every now and then at karaoke, but
Nice.
yeah, that's
All right, next time you're at karaoke, invite me out. I'd love to come see
for
that.
sure. Absolutely.
I love karaoke. I'm a horrible singer, but I love karaoke.
Where's your guys' favorite karaoke spots in Edmonton?
Overtime, or not overtime anymore. What's it called now? Provincial, right on the White Mud next to the Red Robin on like Calgary Trail.
Oh, I didn't even know there was a place there.
Wednesday nights.
Cool.
I don't know if I have one. I haven't. I don't go as often as maybe I like.
I live like 2 blocks away from Rosie's as well. So
I was gonna
it's
say
like
Rosie's is pretty.
Okay, like the Rosie's just off White?
Yeah.
Okay, so I swear to God, at that place, the person who runs that karaoke only lets their friends sing.
Yeah.
It's true. It's totally true. It's so frustrating. I got there early one time, like with a couple friends. We put in songs, waited for 3 hours.
Oh my God!
Not once. Brutal. Like I'd never go to that place.
If only they knew what they were missing out
If
on.
only they knew that I could sing the way I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'd be like, oh my goodness.
As soon as you went
Oh
up
my
once, they'd be
goodness,
like,
you're now our
wow, we
friend."
should have put
That's
this guy up for the last 3 hours.
But my favorite place, even though it's super, super sketchy, like I've got like lots of good times there, is the H2O Lounge on White Avenue.
Really?
It
I don't
is
go there because I
so
know.
sketchy.
Yeah,
I
I was a journalist in a previous career, and I interviewed an MMA fighter from Edmonton named Ryan Jimmo, and he was murdered in the parking lot.
Yeah.
So that's so I've never
Oh.
every time I drive by, I'm like, this place is terrifying.
Oh man, it is terrifying. Like one time I was there doing karaoke with some friends, and like in the bathroom there was like a group of skinheads that were doing coke off of like every surface in that place, like getting real close, like staring me down and stuff. I'm like, I'm just here to piss, man. That's all
Oh
I
my
wanna do.
god.
Like yeah, super super sketchy. But I mean, for some reason or another, my group of friends were always like, karaoke, I'll go to H2O Lounge.
Oh man. Well, that's interesting because all I know about
Where-
it is that a person died. It's
Where
across
is it?
from like the A&W on White.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's in that-
it's
it's a
on that
real-
part of
Like,
White.
yeah,
Little
Lucky,
sketch
Lucky
strip
Joy
mall.
Foods or something
Yeah,
like that. And
yeah.
like Highway 420 or something like
And
that.
that shitty liquor store that is
Yeah.
like caged up.
That's right.
I went to the liquor store with Dan Clark, I think, once at your album recording,
Nice.
and we're like, ooh.
Yeah, it is dingy, but it is
Well, now I know someone who's gone in and come back out, so that's
multiple times too.
That's good.
Like
That's
that was
good.
like,
Shout out.
the main go-to spot for like 2010 to like 2013.
good. Damn.
Yeah, countless times there.
Nice.
Good times too.
Well,
Only a
maybe I'll
handful-
check it out.
only a hand-
I don't know.
well,
I would.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Go with
Let's
Mark.
get the
Yeah,
fellas
come
together.
come with me.
We'll go with your group.
Yeah.
And then
And like another thing too is like when we go out, like some of my friends, they're like pretty eccentric and stuff like that, and so like they're weird, right? So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like people don't want to like mess with them because they can't see them, and they're like kind of like, oh, they make them uncomfortable. It's like, okay, well, like
Yeah.
maybe just keep to ourselves then. And it's like, so it kind of works in your favor. That's
Yeah.
fine.
The nice thing about weird people is people look at them and they're like, oh, they don't really care what other people think. So like they might just snap. Like they might
there is that too.
like I would way rather fuck with like a pretty like jacked
Someone who
like
looks like you.
hockey player. Yeah. I'd rather fuck with a dude like me than like a skinny guy with hair across his face that's dyed red at the end and has like fucking piercings all down the side of his face. I'd be like, you know, I'm not gonna fuck with that guy at all.
Yeah, you know, I haven't seen any of those guys for a very long time personally.
Man,
point.
you don't live on White.
I used to, like a couple of years ago. I just drove past my apartment actually today on the way over here. But yeah, they do exist, right? Like I mean, like little candy raver kids and stuff.
oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
For sure.
Plur.
What
Plur
does plur
vibes.
mean?
I can't remember.
It's
like,
Isn't it party
a
of love?
rave
Is
in
that like
Edmonton.
peace,
party,
love, and
peace, love.
I don't know. I have no idea, but
Cool.
Oh, I didn't even know it stood for something.
No,
I
I
just
think
thought
it
it.
does.
It's an acronym for
I
sure.
think it
Oh
does.
shit! I just thought they called it plur because it sounds like pure but cooler.
No, I feel it's like pure. I don't know. I have no idea.
find out.
You're gonna find out right now. Perfect.
Yeah, that's how we'll wrap up the podcast.
Yeah.
we'll
Finding out what plur means.
plur it up.
Yeah, man. Well, while he does that, you want to give a plug to all your stuff?
Sure. I mean, I think the band's next show that we're playing is gonna be on December 7th at Black Bar.
Sweet.
I think that's what it is. But as
That's
far
awesome.
as
It's going in
like,
my calendar.
what we're doing right now, you know, everyone's kind of like taking some time off. I'm getting down to the nitty gritty and trying to get this record done.
Mm-hmm.
And once it is done, we will be doing an awesome release for it in the springtime, probably. with
Amazing.
promotional material. I want to
Let me open for you.
Sure.
That'd be sick. That'd be a fun
Make it a
hip hop.
variety show. That'd be great.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like not enough variety shows actually happen in Edmonton to bring like kind of like genre mashing and stuff
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't really happen. But yeah, so I'm doing that record
Cool.
and gonna try and get all of the ducks in the row for like a really, really solid release.
That's awesome.
Because, you know, I feel like if you're gonna do it, just do it all the way.
Yeah.
Don't half-ass it.
Yeah.
Sure, like anybody can like record something and put it onto Spotify, but I mean, like
Yeah.
I want to do it right. You know?
Yeah.
So
All right,
That's
gentlemen.
awesome.
Peace, love, unity, and respect.
Ah,
Because that's what I think of when I think of doing drugs at a rave.
that's so funny.
me too.
Like
Peace, love, unity, and respect.
when you think of rave, are those the things you think of first?
No, I think of dilated pupils and
Think
lots of vomit.
A bar that sells water.
Yeah. I think of heat exhaustion, and just like I need to find something to bite down on.
Oh my god, I've got one friend who can't hide when he's on something because it's like,
Yeah.
Oh, he's just one of those guys,
oh
hey?
my god.
Oh man.
Always grinding his teeth like, hey guys, what's up? You're like, you keep going to the bathroom a lot, hey?
Yeah, I got a small bladder. It's cold in
That's
here.
funny.
Now it's really hot.
Now it's really hot. It's cold in here. Now it's
Do you guys hate me?
hot. Every time.
No man, plur.
Am I being blur?
I love you, bro.
Peace, love, you, need respect.
Absolutely.
And Instagram
Yeah.
at Zachary
our
Red
Instagram-
Official.
Yeah, our Instagram handle is Zachary Red Official, and Zachary Red on Facebook. We got a page on there too.
Sweet.
I try and post as often as I can when things are coming up or something's looking cool or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, if anyone listening wants to give me a follow on there and keep up to date with what it is that we're doing, that would be awesome. I mean, yeah. for sure.
And link to the EPs in the bio for on your Insta.
Yeah, so the C'est La Vie EP, which it was a fun EP to make. It's kind of one of those things where you just kind of, from start to finish, you kind of listen to it in one go.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a track in the background of all the songs that connects it all together, kind of make it one like long song, one kind of story. It's kind of like a backing like rain track that I recorded out of my apartment windows in Montreal. And yeah, you know, it's it puts you in an environment and it's a good listen. Yeah.
It is a good listen.
Agreed.
Cool.
Finish it on the way home.
Sweet. Cheers.
You got anything?
Follow me at Kersey and at YEG Stand Up. And come to the station on Jasper every Wednesday at 7 o'clock.
Do it.
Nice. I'm going to be at the Edmonton Comedy Festival this year in the main part of the festival for the first. I've done the festival for like 7 years. I've never been in like the main part. So
Nice.
Snaps.
yeah,
Snaps.
doing the ATB Arts Barn where my album recording was. So we got
Perfect.
the late night, date night gala on the Saturday, the backstage gala I think on the Saturday as well. And I've got one show at the Varscona Theater, and I'm hosting the media challenge, which is going to be the best.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Sweet.
I'm going to have a lot of fun doing that. So Edmonton Comedy Festival tickets at atbcomedy.com. Follow me at AF Comedian. I think that's it. Enjoy the rest of your lives, guys.